they'd have no idea she was sober. Now it's showcased and praised on social media as some sort of talent. Oh yeah, I'm not making this stuff up. Look, do you guys know how hard it is to make a TikTok like that in one go? I don't know. Do you know how hard it is to be a coal miner? Do you even think about these things before you use the phrase, do you know how hard it is? I just saw the transition video. WTH. You're so talented. Damn. Yeah, I wonder if the members of Led Zeppelin feel the same way. I mean, am I the only one concerned about our future here? These kids are going to be running for public office soon. I mean, look at this kid. Guy can't even walk right.
You know, the more people that become self-absorbed, the less they know about what's actually going on, and I think that might be done on purpose. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. This is Ukadowski of WeAreChange.org. Lots of news to cover today regarding cognitive decline, absolutely wasteful spending praised as if you're a stripper being showered with money, when in reality, you're the one actually getting robbed. All, of course, as our core institutions are rotted and corrupted, but don't pay attention to any of that or the widening income inequality gap in the United States because, look at this baby, it's a bigot. And on top of all this, the little guy doesn't even know it. Anyway, lots of things don't make sense in our modern world, especially our current sitting president, Joe Biden. But one person who does make a lot of sense to me is Joey B. Tunes, who we played a small clip in the beginning of his broadcast from his full video, which you could watch in the description down below. He does great social commentary about how, the future of this country is pretty doomed. And what did you expect when we have a career politician that's been inside of politics for close to 50 years now, that is known for toting the establishment line no matter what happens, known for being tied to all the special interests in Washington, D.C., in K Street, whose lobbyists are his best friends. And today we got a bigger picture to the larger lack of accountability from this president, who of course refuses to have press conferences and whose team is aggressively making sure that no one could ask him a question.
And then if I could just...
Let's go, you guys. Come on, press. We're going to move out. Let's go, press. Let's go. Come on, press. Let's go. Come on, let's go. Crisis at the border, sir. Let's go, you guys. Come on. Come on.
It's almost as if they have something to hide, and once again, it's becoming the new routine of everyone around the U.S. president to make sure everything that comes out of the presidency is scripted, curated, and tightly controlled. And when the president of the United States is not capable of answering questions that haven't been pre-screened, really, you have to start asking yourselves, who's really in charge here? Or is his cognitive decline that bad that leads you once again to ask, who's really in charge here? And these are serious, legitimate questions that a lot of people are having, on top of the fact that this administration is becoming less accountable to the media, less transparent, while of course surrounding themselves with as many military men and National Guardsmen as they can in Washington, D.C. Even the Daily Mail had an article saying, quote, "Nothing to say here. Biden aides stop reporters asking him questions during his D.C. hardware store visit on his 49th day in office without holding press conference. Kamala takes another solo call with world leader." But hey, look on the bright side. At least they got him to stop sniffing people, which wouldn't be the best optics during our modern day and age. And in a totally unrelated note, at least in the United States, socially and culturally, we were able to get rid of a fictional cartoon character that made other fictional cartoon characters feel uncomfortable. So I guess this is called progress, right? I guess we're doing pretty good, as perfectly represented by this fictional cartoon, which I just have to say is a pretty good Photoshop job there. Now, even though we don't have the constant sniffing of hair and people, we do have a lot of things that do concern the American public, which is growingly becoming concerned, as highlighted by a new Rasmussen poll and report showing that 52% of Americans are concerned that the U.S. president has not faced the press since taking office. Now, along with cognitive decline, we are also seeing the decline of the mainstream media and their viewership, as of course their ratings, their traffic is slumping dramatically, especially with the ousting and banning of former U.S. President Donald Trump, and now this president that doesn't even want to talk to them, as if they were almost a one-night stand that loved and promoted Joe Biden, and now Joe Biden doesn't want to do anything with them. But as the mainstream media and their reputation literally goes down the toilet along with their viewership, us here as independent media, we're actually doing pretty good. We're doing better than we did in a very long time. And a lot of that is because of you amazing human beings supporting us, and most importantly, going to wearechange.org and in the top right-hand corner, putting in your email, signing up for our email list where you will get exclusive content that you can't get anywhere else. Recently, just a few days ago, everyone that was signed up on this email list got a free exclusive video for them that they could only see on lukeuncensored.com, which they could have only seen if they were signed up to the email list. And of course, in the future, we're going to be releasing videos only exclusively to people who sign up on our email list with content that, of course, I can't openly share here on YouTube. There's a lot of things that I can't say. There's a lot of opinions I can't express. There's a lot of buzzwords I can't even mention on this platform. But through lukeuncensored.com and our new exclusive email list, I let it all go and I drop some major bombs, which you're never going to be getting here on this platform. Again, wearechange.org, top right-hand corner. Put in your email list right now. It costs you nothing, gives you free premium content. Of course, if you want to consistently sign up to lukeuncensored.com for just 50 cents a day, but even just signing up on this email list means a lot because it bypasses any algorithms, any central controllers, any middleman or woman standing in our way from reaching and talking to you about the actual news, about the truth that really matters in this world that many special interests try to hide. With those funds, we're going to be building and expanding this media operation, hiring people to be in the field and doing some really incredible projects. And I really can't thank you guys for being a part of that. And I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. So sincerely, thank you very much. Now we have to ask ourselves a very important question. With Joe Biden not really being there figuratively and literally, who is there? Who's in charge? Who's making American policy? Who's talking to the leaders? Well, even according to the White House own briefings on its website, whitehouse.gov, it is Kamala Harris, the Vice President of the United States, that is taking calls with world leaders, communicating with them. Now, is she the head honcho? Is she the person in charge? No, it would be ridiculous to think so. She, of course, was a criminal prosecutor in California that unjustly went after a lot of innocent people and really doesn't have the top echelon connections, as, of course, a lot of top-notch Joe Biden's inner circle of corporate lobbyists that have way more power, way more influence, and are actually able to set policy through, of course, private means and ways that government can. Now, of course, it is interesting that Kamala Harris is taking some phone calls, but again, to some people, this proves everything. To me, it doesn't. She's talking to prime ministers of Norway. And no offense if you're from Norway, but it's not really the epicenter of geopolitics or any kind of larger issues that at the moment provide any significance. There's also a lot of news articles and sources talking about how Kamala Harris was left out of the decision and wasn't even told that Joe Biden was launching another military campaign inside of Syria. And one thing we have to understand, when we're looking at presidents, we're looking at larger representatives. I think it's very fair to say that all of our key institutions, whether it large departments within our government, whether the Supreme Court, the Democratic Party, the Republican Party, the media, a lot of them have been corrupted. And most of the people doing the corruption are special interests. Some people call them globalists, some people call them corporatists, some people call them the billionaire banking class. But I think it's very fair to say that, of course, there's a lot of individuals and entities in this world that are a lot more powerful and effective than government. Even according to major studies that were conducted, the will of the people is not really as evident as much as how much a specific issue has funds for it that gets it passed in Congress, as even according to some studies looking at 20 years of data showing how Congress doesn't care about what people think, about what they want, about what they need. And it highlights how policy is shaped by a few individuals with all the money. The article about this on Upworthy reads, quote, "The preferences of the average American appear to have only a minuscule, near zero statistical, non-significant impact upon public policy." Why? Because our politicians are bought and sold for, corrupted for the benefit of the very few. Ding, ding, ding. I've been freaking telling you this for about 15 years. Finally, now when we have the epitome of this, the exact representation, the man who wanted more lobbyists in the Barack Obama administration, the man who has been the lobbyist representative for over close to 50 years. Now, finally, some people are starting to see this. And no, it's not Kamala Harris that's in charge. It's the special interests, because the special interests were always in charge. These corporatist, globalist, banking, billionaire class don't give a damn about you. And they use very manipulative, mind control, psy-op programs in order to make sure you never realize this. That's why independent media like this is usually under attack. And they promote the mainstream media that literally is talking about how babies could somehow or in some way be bigoted. Yes, this is literally the conversation that we're having. We're having conversations about this, about Pepe Le Pew, and all this other absolute nonsense that goes under the barrier of social justice, which, according to some people, was created as a movement to protect Wall Street and this bigger, larger, corporatist, globalist, billionaire banking class that, of course, we've been talking about since the beginning of this video. And there's some data suggesting that this could be the case, especially with the very peculiar rise of niche, non-important, unimpacting topics like microaggressions, slut-shaming, toxic masculinity, with, of course, a larger emphasis on all of the things that divide us from each other as one humanity amongst our race, against our identities, our preferences, the junk in our trunk, what we have between our legs. All of those things are being used and have been weaponized by the mainstream media within the last few years in order for you to see your neighbor as the enemy and never to realize how the special elite billionaire class is absolutely screwing you over. And when you look at old US government secret programs like COINTELPRO, whose objectives were to break down internal organizations, create dissension between groups, restrict access to public resources, restrict the ability of individuals to participate in group activities, it is almost as if it is the exact blueprint of all the things being pushed on by the mainstream media, big tech algorithms, and celebritards that take a paycheck from usually that same billionaire class. Politicians gladly puppeteer a lot of the talking points, just like we saw with Justin Trudeau, that vowed to fight the economic downfall that he created by using, quote, feminist recovery tactics to tackle the secession. Yes, not the recession, the she-session. This guy can't be any more cringe than he can.
Especially important right now when women are bearing the brunt of the impact and we face a she-session.
No! What? What has the world turned to when we have these people as your public representatives? Again, it wasn't even the sickness that brought upon the brunt and impact and economic devastation. It was him. It was him and his government and other government officials that decided to use lockdowns that hurt them in the first place. That's another big topic that people need to discuss and really start to understand here. But when we have real issues that actually matter, that actually affect us, they have to be bastardized. They have to be exploited, used in a way so people don't actually pay attention to how they're getting screwed, to how they're getting hurt. All, of course, the big box stores, Walmart, Amazon, Costco, Target, with representatives on K Street, with lobbyists, with friends in Washington, D.C. All of them are allowed to be open as the banking elite class is thinking of their next scheme that, of course, they're going to be greatly benefiting from. And that, of course, is ratcheting up the money printing machines, printing money wastefully, as government always does, now on another extreme level, with the United States indebted now over $28 trillion. Looks like soon we're going to be adding 2 more trillion to that. As of course, the Washington Post characterizes all of this with their title saying, quote, Biden stimulus showers money on Americans, sharply cutting poverty and favoring individuals over businesses. And that is an absolute big, bold-faced lie that absolutely has no merit from the president that promised everyone $2,000. As of course, the U.S. government is currently funding gender studies in Pakistan and buying the country of Sri Lanka speedboats with your tax dollars. What else are they going to be doing with your money? Spending it like absolute lunatics, which they already have been doing. They want to do that on another scale, which of course will have a devastating effect on everyone. People think that a lot of these larger packages are going to help them, have money go directly to them, but in reality, the majority of the money is not going to them. And when you look at the long-term effects of government spending money absolutely recklessly, they have huge, devastating long-term economic effects that, of course, will affect you in more ways than most people don't realize, especially with the cost of goods, especially with the cost of services, the devaluation of the US dollar, which continues to accelerate and will only from here, as of course your children in the future will, one way or another, most likely even sooner, not even your children, probably even you soon, will have to pay for this reckless spending in one way or another. Nothing is free in this world, as also many YouTubers are finding out outside of the United States, as YouTube just announced that foreign creators will soon be charged American tax. Yep, YouTube has announced that its content creators and partners not in the United States will need to prepare for paying U.S. taxes on their earnings. Why? Well, the U.S. empire needs all of this money that they're going to take within themselves and give you horrible services in response to it. Who else is going to pay for it except you, the taxpayer? Which now is going to include what looks like, according to the statements from YouTube, everyone a part of the partner program, even if they are not American citizens. An extra tax burden and liability that, of course, finances governments, along with government officials that never really represent you, that never really care for you, as of course they make very reckless, dangerous decisions that usually costs people their lives, as we recently saw last year in states like New York and Michigan, where, of course, the governors there decided to specifically send sick people into nursing homes knowingly. In Michigan, the governor, Gretchen Whitmer, decides to hide all the data from the public because, public accountability and transparency, who even knows what that is anymore? And in New York, we found out the true cost of someone who is extremely incompetent as a leader, who made very bad decisions that essentially cost the lives of what people are estimating over 15,000 people. A man who also has been described as Pepe Le Pew, who is also facing a major controversy, as now a 6th woman came out against him and is accusing him of very serious allegations. This, of course, Andrew Cuomo, who previously said that all women should always be believed when they come forward with an accusation. Now, very interestingly, he totally has a different tone. Gee, I wonder why. If we have justice, the Michigan governor will face criminal charges and will be held accountable for the huge loss of life that, of course, she was personally responsible for. If there's justice in this world, individuals like Whitmer and Cuomo will be in jail. Will that actually happen? I highly doubt it. Your tax dollars, your children's futures are being wasted away and spent on bailing these individuals out. And ask yourself a question, whether it's a puppet on the left or a puppet on the right, the reality of the situation is what people want, what the people need, rarely, if ever, happens. So, if you see someone who is still stuck in this two-party abusive relationship syndrome where they think one guy is totally bad, but another guy somehow is going to be good, even though they're the same exact thing and usually are represented and controlled by the same special interest, send them this video. Double click this URL link, wherever comes to your mind right now first, just send it to them. I don't care if you're talking to them or not talking to them. Get this video out there because it's one of the true ways. And because you guys do this, this has been amazing. I've been incredibly blessed and lucky to have you, beautiful, amazing human beings that actually do share this video. I say it every time in the beginning of this video. I actually mean it because the odds that we are against, the things that we faced, the situations and circumstances that seen me in jail, that seen me in so many different weird things that as a result of my work, finally is working. It's getting out there, and in large part, it's mainly because of you. And that's why I love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on wearechange.org.